You love that. Alright. Say the bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan haTorah. Amen. Blessed are you, Lord God, King of the universe, who gives the Torah of truth and the good news of salvation to his people Israel and to all the peoples through his Son Yeshua and the Messiah, Lord. Amen. Alright, so last week you guys got terrorized with a whole record of imagery, giving you framework of Ephesians, trying to get you to touch base with certain imagery and certain things that he was seeing around him while he was under light chain arrest. Who brought us all the way up to chapter 2 and a whole bunch of banding. Right? Everybody more or less happy with what's there, so we don't have to go through that again. Yeah, right.
What's the video?
Yeah, watch the video. Alright, so we're going to go up in chapter 2. Like I said, remember in an epistle, in all your books of the Bible, we don't have chapter and verse. He's carrying on with his thoughts. Okay? But hopefully you guys have started to remember what you were talking about last time. No? Something about adoption and being chosen and Roman and now being a kingdom person. Alright, so I'm going to read a little bit from 1 verse 15 just to give you context to run into chapter 2. For this reason, ever since I heard your trust in the Lord Yeshua and your love for all God's people, I have not stopped giving thanks for you. In my prayers, I keep asking the God of our Lord Yeshua, the Messiah, the glorious Father, to give you a spirit of wisdom and revelation so that you'll have full knowledge of Him. I pray that He will give light to your to the eyes of your heart, Lord, so that you will understand in the hope to which He has called you, what rich glories there are in the inheritance He has promised His people, and how surpassingly great is the power working in us who trust Him. It works with the same mighty strength He used when He worked in the Messiah to raise Him from the dead and seat Him at the right hand in heaven, far above every ruler, authority, power, dominion, or any other name that can be named either in the Olam Hazeh, this world or this life, or the Olam Haba, the one to come. Also, He has put all things under His feet and made Him head over everything. For, in my translation, is any community, your translation might say church, which is His body, the full expression of Him who fills all creation. Alright? So he's talking about authority, dominion, and you belonging to Him, okay?
But which verse are you on?
I was in 1 verse 15. I was just giving you a little bit of context so we pick up the line of thinking that he's going. Okay? Now I'm going into chapter 2, verse 1. Alright? You used to be dead because of your sins and acts of disobedience. You walked in the ways of the Olam Hazeh, in the world, this world, and obeyed the ruler of the powers of the air, who is still at work among the disobedient. Okay? Please pause. So, you used to be dead because of your sins, right? Anybody disagree with that statement? Everybody understand that statement? Okay? Because you were not following Torah, sin equals death. Because we were walking in a way we didn't understand, we done got broke. You walked in the ways of this world, this life, this culture, and obeyed the rulers of the powers of the heavens, or the ruler of the powers of the air. Who's that? The ruler of the powers of the air, who are still at work among the disobedient. Yeah? Right. Okay? It is. It's Hasatan. How do we know that? Because it works in the people that are disobedient, that are not following Torah, that are doing everything that they are not going to. I broke this up a little bit. The prince or the ruler is the chief ruler, or a chief or a ruler. The power is a word for Greek that gives us influence and privilege of the air, is either the breeze or breath. Now Now think about that for a second. The ruler is a chief who had influence and privilege in life. The very breath. Where does that breath come from? God, right? It's the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Breath, if you wanted to give that way. Someone who had privilege and had power and was part of that, someone that maybe was created, and who wreaks havoc because he is completely disobedient. Nice fancy way of saying, if you're running around being disobedient, you're acting like or being influenced by Hasatan. You guys know what Hasatan means? The adversary. The adversary to what? To who? Who's he going against? Against God. Right? Against life. He doesn't think that you guys are worth anything. Right? So he's going against what God is trying to do. Indeed, we all once lived this way. We followed the passions of our old nature and obeyed the wishes of our old nature and our own thoughts. In our natural condition, we were headed for God's wrath just like everybody else. Okay. Be prepared for a rabbit hole. We followed the passions. The word means the lusts. Okay, so that might be your translation of our old nature. Or what do you guys have there? The old desires of the flesh. Okay? This is going to bring us to something. We all used to be there until what point? Until Yeshua. Until understanding something. Remember, he's bringing Gentiles into the kingdom of heaven. You used to be Roman, but now you belong to this kingdom. You used to bow down to Caesar, now you bow down to God. You used to think you were just a number with a little promised inheritance, and if you survive this, you're going to be some land. Your inheritance is fixed by God. It's a kingdom unshakable. It's never going to be taken away. But there's something profound in what he's saying that we don't always understand. We get the old creation versus the new creation. Now, to understand this, we need to understand a few things. What creation is he talking about? Us, right? And what are you made up of? Yes. Okay, so you came from the Adamah, which is one part of your creation story. You came from the Adamah. Adamah means dust, the sand or the soil. And God did something with that dust. What did he do? Breathe. He breathed. So he gave, we will use the term ruach here, his breath. And when you mix his breath with dust, equal what? It equals MC 4712 times 5. Right? Creates soul. You. A living being. Okay, so bear with me, I'm going to break this down for you. 1 Thessalonians 5 talks about us being made up of 3 parts. We've done this before, yes? Spirit, soul, and body, flesh. Okay? Right. Remember, your tabernacle is made up of 3 parts. Outer structure, holy place, holy of holies. Okay? So as you look at this, let's talk about what Scripture, how do I identify spirit, soul, and body? Okay? Generally, when you look at Scripture, you will see that it'll have to do something with your mind, what you choose. Your mind, emotions, and your will. What I think about, how I feel about stuff, and what I choose to do. Spirit comes from God, right? As part of his very breath, it's that which gives life, and it's the way in which the Ruach HaKodesh communicates his Ruach into us. Right? And your body is the nice outer casing that you have that you struggle with in many times. Okay? Now, the balance in the new creation is there should be a hierarchy flow in the way we do things. When God speaks in our tabernacle, there's a door, here's the Holy of Holies, here's the holy place, this is the outer court, okay? Holy of Holies, holy place, outer court. You with me? When God speaks, where does it start from? Starts in the Holy of Holies. Okay? So we receive a word from God there. Now, what should happen from there? Think about it from this point of view. You receive a word from God. You think about it. You normally panic. And in God willing, if we get it right, we choose to follow. That happens here. That should then come out into our hands and our feet, and then we do it. God says, keep Shabbat. I want you to keep kosher. I want you to celebrate Pesach. Why? I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Remember, I was talking about disobedience. Right? Rebellion. Going against what God has instructed. That's what Satan does. Right? But we have to have that. So the balance should be, spirit should be listened to first prize. Then soul. Then body. Usually this is the flow of things. When God speaks, it leads on into action from the inside out. With me? Okay. Now, what happened in the fall was, we became more focused on that. She thought about it. She decided how she felt about it, and she put it into action, and then death came into the room. Your body doesn't live anymore, right? Okay. Now, when you come into this walk, what the Ruach HaKodesh does to you is he realigns what should have happened. Okay? What should happen is that I'm so focused on what God is about, my soul, my mind is on His mind, my emotions is my heart, my love for Him, and I choose to do what He wants me to do. If that is correct, I walk out in my body holiness. If I choose not to, if I kick up against it because if I don't like it, if I don't even want to think about it or I think of something else, rebellion comes. My body does what happens in my mind. You with me? Okay. So when we come into this regeneration process of this new creation, my sole focus should be spirit first, soul second, body is the last thing I worry about. Yeshua said it this way, don't worry about the clothes you wear or the food that you eat. Your body is not more than clothes. Okay, let me break down body for you and the food. Now let me break it down, alright? What we have, and I'm going to kind of bounce in between this and what he's talking about because you really need to get to grips with what's going on here. What we have is we have, let's call it spirit-full people or spirit-led people. Spirit-full Christians. Right? These are people that are so focused on God first prize. They're worrying about what He said, they're in communication with Him, they're asking everything. Should I do this? Should I do that? Abba, lead me. Obviously, He's giving you a brain. There are certain things that you learn over time about Him, so you don't need to ask Him if it's okay not to slap somebody in the face. Yeah? Right? You know God says love your enemies, so bless them instead. I don't need to ask Him that. But in the beginning of your walk, you don't know anything about it. So you learn. And you become spirit-led. But unfortunately, sometimes people get stuck here. And they call this soulish Christians. Soulish believers. What's a soulish believer? Sensational. Right, okay, so that's an important one. Let's start one at a time. Sensation. Right. Modern day churches will, and I'm not knocking this, I love praise and worship. But if it becomes all about the praise and worship and not about the Word of God, why? Because you can bounce around, you can praise God, you can feel good, and then you go. What did you learn? Did you change? Have you impacted anybody else's life out there? Do they know Messiah more because you danced? No. So what are you doing? Entertaining yourself. What about you're looking for the next high? You're looking for the next spiritual high. Sometimes that comes in the form of pride. Pride's a big one here. What you think about yourself. I've said it before, I'll say it again. In this movement in particular, spiritual arrogance is a big problem. Because they're always chasing the next truth. You haven't even figured out that book yet, but you're studying books that we don't even know who wrote them. Why? Because you want to have answers that other people don't have. You're not even putting to practice the Torah that He gave you, but you want to study everybody else's instruction. It's all about you. Let's put it into a church context. You come in, and it's all about our pastor. You need to come to our fellowship. Only it happens here because we have the truth. Is any church a monopoly on the truth? Does any person have God in his pocket that they can pull him out and put him back and say, you will only understand this? No, I think you've made him too small. Right? So it becomes about us. It starts to become about what we think is best, how we feel about it, and what we choose to follow, when we choose to follow. This whole one is an interesting one. I'm going to put it over here in giving. So Scripture says you need to take care of the widow and orphan, right? Do you do it to make you feel good about you, or do you do it to give glory to your Father? Think about it for a second. I'm a nice guy. I gave money to that nice man on the corner. He's really struggling. So I spoke to him a little bit. And then I gave him some money. And it's good. Did you hear one sentence about God said I need to take care of you? So yeah, I have this. No? So what is your motivation? You. And it makes you feel good. So it becomes part of your emotion again. And it fools your mind because it's all about you. And where you're going to get that next fix of how awesome this makes me feel, and it's fantastic, and we just need that rush. And we're going to chase the newest concepts and the latest understandings and the newest truth, because Scripture revealed to us. We have, when was the last book written, more or less? Revelations is probably compiled last, right? What year, more or less, was that done? Okay, well then let me not ask technical questions. Do you think it's been a really, 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 really long time since the last book of the Bible has been written? Alright, I think we've had it for a while. If God has not given us anything more to add to His story, why do we think we need new revelation? Why do we think we need more new revelation? No, you don't understand. What you need to do is you need to do it this way, you need to do it that way, you need to do it this way, because then you will understand everything. Heard people talk like this? Be very, very, very careful. You do not have the monopoly on God's truth. They do not have the monopoly on God's truth. Last time I checked, all you have to read is the big book that you've got in front of you. Once you understand all of that, and if I've proven anything to you over the last years, is that the more we know, the more we don't know. And just when you think you understand, we peel another layer, and then everything else just falls apart, and then we go, okay, we knew nothing. People study this for the entire lifetime, and they still don't have everything done. They still don't do everything done. You don't need a new revelation. You don't need to be chasing the next thing. You need to be sticking to what you have so that you can apply that. And when you get that right, focus on keeping it. If you ever get it right, right? We're looking for the next sensation. We become super sensualists. So it's the next event. It's the biggest entertainment. It's the next dance thing. We have praise and worship conferences, events now. And it's about how much lighting and smoke and how good the sound of the band is. And I'm not trying to discount that these people they might be doing it with the full intent about worshiping God. I'm not trying to knock that. But the people are not singing. God would have a guy who plays a banjo badly, who can't sing a note, singing his heart out with tears streaming down his face.
Yes.
Rather that form of worship than lights and strobes and guys, can you feel the electricity because we're 10,000 people? We need to get back to basics.
This is a different concept of worship, which is so important to learn because why could you have those three layers to us? So there's that outer courts with the music and everything, because that's how you go into God's presence. And then there's different forms of worship. For example, doing what we're doing right now is worship. We were just going in Regan's class where they would actually, Messiah said, you're not worshiping directly, God is doing it out the washing of the hands. So that just shows you that actions are worship as well. So living out our lives is worship. So we like to stuck on our worship is something music and stuff. We don't see that stuff in the word is worship as well as our actions.
Right. It's very important. Okay, let's go to body. What is a fleshly Christian class as? Now remember, he's a believer. Think back to people maybe you met, and I'm not trying to pick on them, please. I'm just trying to give you practical examples. You all start out somewhere and you've got to grow. Right? This is like the equivalent of watching your children grow up before you. In the beginning, they only focus on certain things. Then when they get older, they focus on other things. And when they get bigger, hopefully they can juggle the bigger stuff. Right? It comes with maturity. We all start off like babies and we all work our way up. The point is to aim for God, being spiritually mature, being able to listen to Him, being able to distinctly hear His voice when He speaks, and walk according to His statutes, not my own. And catch myself if I feel that it's more about me than it is about Him. A fleshly Christian. Think about it. People that maybe only believe God is good if I'm driving the latest 5 Series. Yeah, no, it's fine. You know what? It's about what this part is all about. And we get caught up very quickly in things of the world. No, you don't understand. You cannot wear just any suit to church. You have to wear our money. Is it really about God? Is it about the way it makes you feel? And in many cases it comes in and it overlaps because it gives you a nice thrill and it gives you pride, but it's actually started with the way it felt. It's a very interesting concept when you first hear about it. When you think about people that are saved and they still act the way the world is, but they know they haven't shared. Let me give you a silly example. How many of you believe there's lust in marriage? I thought lust was only something you did when you were not married. As soon as I take away the heart of the matter and I start treating people like an object, I've lost it. I've lost it. I've lost him. And it's about me. And if it's about me, there's no place for God. There are battles that you're going to face. It's about your life. Think about it. Just for a second, let's put ourselves in our brothers' shoes that are staying in the Middle East. You're facing a man with a sword and he says, renounce God, or we're going to end this conversation quickly. Where do you think the biggest struggle would be? He's scared. If he chooses wrong, he might lose his salvation, loses his eternal salvation. But if he chooses wrong, he gets life. What will he choose? Because it really just affects his body. How is it that we get people over there that sit there and go, I'm not going to renounce God? Remember, I shared with you a guy by the name of Polycarp of Smyrna. This guy was about 85 years old. He was a disciple's disciple. And he was one of John's disciples. And he gets put into this arena, and they say, renounce God or die. And I think at that stage he was about like 80 years old. And he looked at him and he's like, these past, I forget how many years he said, it's like these past 75 years or something like that. It's like he was quite an old guy. He said, these past 75 years, these 80 years God has been by my side. Why would I want to leave him now when he needs me most? He's like, he never left me once. When I was broken, when I was scared, when I was afraid, when I didn't understand, when I was learning, when he was picking me up and he was dusting me off, he was there when I was sick, he was there when I was crying, he was there when I was just trying to figure out what was going on, and you look at me with a sword or a lion and you say, this is it. I'm saying, good, send me home. What is a body? I'm going to get a new one. This one's old and broken anyway. Upgrade me. How many of you run to the cell phone store? Give me an upgrade. Give me a new car. Give me an upgrade. My car's old. Want to upgrade? He says, get a new body. No. Slow down. Let's think about this a little. And you become more focused on your flesh than you are on God. How many times have you known? Paul says, if you haven't been in a situation, many of us, we sit and we look at our surroundings and we go, it's really difficult outside. But if you listen to Paul, who was beaten repeatedly, and he says, I have learned to be content with much and little. When he went to bed without a full stomach, and times when he had enough. Why is it fair weather Christianity? I've got a headache, can't finish. I'm a little tired, can't finish. I just don't feel like it, can't finish. I'm a little bit depressed, can't finish. What are you listening to? What are you focusing on? I'm not trying to beat you up, I'm trying to encourage you. The point of this is to get to the point where I acknowledge where I am, and then there is room to grow. Acknowledging where I'm falling is that so I can fix it. The new creation is about Him. My body is for Him. My soul is for Him. Spirit follows Him. When you decide to take on this territory of teaching or leading, it's a very interesting thing. People don't care how you feel before you get up and teach. You all just pitch up. I could have had a migraine. I could have had sinusitis. I could have double bronchitis. It does not matter. What you care about is Vince is going to teach. And it's got nothing to do with about me, right? This is about you're coming here to hear, hopefully God, and in His Word you're going to walk away with something that's going to change you forever, and it's going to shape your eternity, and the way I feel does not matter. I know you're tired. I know you struggle. But if I can say this in love, get over it. This is isn't about you, it's about Him. If you learned anything about discipleship, is that you give up everything to follow Him. That means you give up your choice on where you're going. That means you give up the I'm tired, I can't follow you anymore. Rabbi, stop. Rabbi. All right, I'll catch up later. No, you want to learn, you stick by His side. Doesn't matter how tired you are, you won't. He's trying to teach you something. He's trying to lift you up. He's trying to tell you, how many of you have done any sort of physical activity that they push you to the point that you thought you were going to die? Right. And then they go, just 3 more steps. And then you take 3 more steps and then you feel like you're going to die. And then they go, no what, you've got 5 more steps. And then you take 5 more steps and you're still not dead. Who knew? It's amazing once you get over yourself a little bit, you don't realize how far you can go. Now, I don't know, with my training, it was about breaking every time. Did you get to the point and then they just go, we're going to go until one of you cannot? The sensei always used to say, we're going to do push-ups until the first one runs to the bathroom. Get into position. You start looking around the room. Please go down. Please run. And if it was up to you, you would have stopped at 100, but that night you did 220. You were tired at 100. It was difficult at 120. But when you sat down and you saw how many push-ups you did well over 200. And you went, well, I've never done that before. Well, you never pushed yourself before. You know what he was building us up for? Black belt. 500 push-ups. That was before the run started. But because you never pushed yourself past 100, who in their right mind does 500 push-ups? They do. And it's normal. It was not normal for me. But by the time we got there, I pushed myself, by the grace of God, further than I ever believed I possibly could. I fought harder because I had made up my mind I was not leaving without my belt. How many of you have had a moment or a choice like that where you're saying, I'm staying here no matter what? Or there's nothing you can do or say to get me out of this chair. You're supposed to be spirit-filled and spirit-led. What are you pushing to? Are you pushing for the next excuse? For the next high? For the next way I feel comfortable? Or are you going to go regardless of how I feel? Physically, emotionally. Sometimes you walk in here and I've seen some of you and I can maybe throw it, you creep up the stairs on hand and foot by the looks of things, and you get up and you collapse and you're like, I don't even have to ask how you are. You survived another week. But you're here. What are you fighting for? Are you fighting for your old nature? The way you used to do things, where it was all about you and how you felt? Or are you fighting to become something different? What is it? What do you want? You said you wanted Messiah, He gave you. He gave you His blood. He gave you this regeneration. He gave you this freedom, this gift to lift you up to become more than what you could ever be. He's giving you the Ruach. He's infused in you. And understand this for a second. What raised Yeshua from the dead? What brings life? The Ruach. That same power that raised someone that was dead for 3 days and 3 nights is sitting inside of you and you act like you can't get up off the couch. I can't read my Bible. I'm just so tired. It's 9:05. I can't get up 10 minutes early to read. I cannot choose God's instruction. because everyone around me tells me when I should do things and when I shouldn't. Listen to me. You will be surrounded by a world that will tell you kosher is not important, Sabbaths and feasts are not important. No, school's important, work's important, everything else is important. God, that's something you do in your own private life at home. No. He gave me this job, he came here so that I came into this place, and he said, I am here with you. I've never left you nor forsake you. So God is with me at my job. We have to get to the place where we overcome our normal passions, our normal desires, our normal influence. You were being influenced by the ruler of the powers of the air. That word influence, like I said to you, is or the power that comes in here is influence and privilege. He's the one influencing you to stay away. He's the one influencing you not to take a stand for God. He's the one that's telling you that you need to worry about your body because you're going to die. You're listening to the wrong voice if that's the case. You're not pushing through to the goal. You know, there was an interesting thing that I learned. What does the word Judah mean in Hebrew? Yehudah. Praise. Okay? It comes also from a type of word from Hallel, right? Hallelujah. What does Hallel mean? Also praise, right? But it actually means to boast about. You learn things every week. So it means to boast. But isn't boasting about pride? Right. Hallelujah. It's about boasting in God. But if I boast in myself, I become like the ruler of the powers of the air. It's about me. So, what do? You learn, you recognize where you fall short, and you start aiming for something that God has in front of you. The life that He has waiting for you. You stop the excuses. You grab onto the fullness of it. And you say, I'm going to fight for this every day. And I can tell you now, it's going to be a fight every day. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's more difficult. But then I'd rather share with you something that I had to learn through many tears. God's goodness does not depend on your physical comfort. If you're going through a rough time financially, it doesn't change that God's good. He's good all the time. Doesn't take away what He did for you on the tree. Doesn't take away that the inheritance and the promise that is going on. It just means that maybe you were trusting too much in your finances, or maybe you weren't trusting enough in Him, but now He's giving you a fresh course. Check yourself. Sometimes it's disobedience. Sometimes you're holding on so much to the way it makes me feel. My flesh, my comfort, it's all about me. Sometimes He just needs to take you on a little journey through the wilderness to show you what's important. Maybe it's not about you. Maybe it's people watching you. It's amazing how much influence you have in your child's life when they focus on what you think is important. While I'm discussing pennies, there is something about modern day Christianity that is either, and you know my feeling on this, I think preaching on tithing has been abused in many cases. But please do not get to the point where you sit and you look at other people and you will give people your time, but you will keep your money. There is a reason there was a sacrifice required where you had to give up some of your stuff with your crops, whether your flocks or whatever. Where you had to redeem your children with shekel. Because the more you hold on to it, the more it makes it about you. And let's just be plain. God does not need your money. But if it's got a lock on your heart, He's going to take it. My experience, give it willingly with a smile. Not mine anyway. Invest in the Spirit. Invest in what God sees. Invest in people. It's not about your comfort. It's about your eternity. Okay? Verse 4, right? But God is so rich in mercy and loves us with such intense love that even when we were dead because of our acts of disobedience, that word disobedience can actually be translated as unbelief at times. That is, God raised us up with the Messiah Yeshua and seated us with Him in heaven. Even though I was dead because I followed everything that was not of God. Chatting last night, and I said one of the biggest lies that people don't realize is that Hasatan will continue to remember how broken and useless you were. Anybody ever get that? I was there when you did that. I remember exactly. Don't tell me that God loves you. You don't even love you. Anybody feel that way sometimes? Captain, Christian, whatever. I know what you're like. I know your heart. Does that sound like an enemy at all? Listen to me. Listen clearly. God knew you when you were there. He picked you up. He chose to die for you. He dusted you off and He said, come, let's go home. He wasn't the only one in the room. He took you in your brokenness because you were broken, so that He could put you back together. Don't let the enemy tell you that you think you put one over on God. God really knew what you were like. Please. That's the reason He died for me, because He knew if He left it to me, there would only be pieces left by the time I get to the end of my life. That doesn't excuse your behavior. It means you grow from your behavior. You have to seek His face. You have to seek His kingdom. You have to seek growth. If you are still making the same mistakes you made after 5 years, we've got a problem. If my 5-year-old still doesn't know how to feed himself or go to the loo, we call that someone who's suffering with a disability, yes? Some of us are walking around with spiritual disabilities and we just think that's normal. It's not normal. Not in the kingdom. You're making excuses. You're more than what you think you are. He's talking to a Roman who was a second-rate Roman citizen with one of a million, saying, listen, bud, you're about as good as holding on to this really old dude who can barely walk or run away, and all you've got to do is throw him behind Caesar, and you've got to tell me I'm a full-fledged Roman. How many of you feel like second-rate Christian citizens? How many of you act like it because you think it? The pews are full. You come to church, you put on your mask, you pretend to be something, you leave here, you go home, and then you show everybody else the real Why do they think that's acceptable? Why do we think that's okay? You are no longer of the world. Stop looking to it. You're no longer looking to your hands. You're looking to God. You're no longer looking to how you feel. You're looking to God. Why don't you go to Him? Why don't you fight for Him? Why don't you change? And instead we sit here and we smile and we go, Baruch Hashem, Shabbat Shalom, nice and see. And you go home and you act like everybody else. When is the church, the people, going to realize that you are supposed to reflect Christ in every way, shape, every opportunity? You only worry about God when you're sitting in front of you, sitting in front of your Bible, and you go, yeah, that's nice, but that's not me. How do you know it's not you? Have you ever tried to live it? Have you ever tried to fight for it? I don't feel good. That's nice. I done all felt good when they took him outside, stoned him, beat him, and he went back into the same city and he said, just one more thing. Someone looks at you funny, tells you a moron, says you don't know anything, you leave nothing, like you were just beaten. You can't even stand up for what you believe. So how do I know you actually believe it? You don't live it. So how am I going to follow your testimony if you don't believe it? Talking to Christians. I'm talking to Jews too. You're Jewish? Yeah, I'm Jewish. I'm pretty sure that's a bacon sandwich in your hand. Yeah, but I'm a bad Jew. You're not Jewish. Yeah, no, I know plenty. It's frustrating. What gives you the excuse? You understand the Torah. No, but I never bring pork into my house. Did God tell you your house must be kosher, or did He tell you to be kosher? Is your house clean or are you clean? Yeah. They respect you when you follow their laws, but they don't follow their own. How is it that you understand God, but you don't follow Him? How is it that you follow Him, that you sit there with the Bible in your lap and you say you don't know your Father? What excuse do you have? How much more must He give? You have nothing. You have no more excuse. Listen to these words. God has raised us up with the Messiah Yeshua and seated us with Him in heaven in order to exhibit in the ages to come how infinitely rich is His grace and how great is His kindness towards us who are united with the Messiah. United with Him. Not, I don't know if I want to follow Him today or tomorrow. For you have been delivered by grace through trusting, and even this is not your accomplishment with God's gift. Isn't it amazing that God had to help us even trust the fact that He died for us? You were not delivered by your own actions, therefore no one should boast. For we are God's making, created in union with the Messiah Yeshua, for a life of good actions already prepared by God for us to do. Good actions in union. Are you guys starting to see a pattern? Therefore remember your former state, you Gentiles by birth called uncircumcised by those who are What does it mean to be uncircumcised in this context? Therefore remember your former state, you Gentiles by birth, called the uncircumcised by those who merely because of an operation of the flesh are called circumcised. Mark it down, make a note, do whatever you need to do. When it talks about circumcision, it means you're Jewish or you're not Jewish. Okay? You're in covenant or you're not in covenant. That's what it means. So you'll say, are you circumcised? He's asking if you're Jewish. He's asking if you follow Torah. He's asking if you follow God. I'm just putting it in modern day terms so that you understand it. Okay? So he says, You people who were merely because of an operation in the flesh. Now remember, circumcision is a mitzvah. That's an instruction. That's an everlasting ordinance. It says so. We can't get away from it. Right? It is something that men have to be as part of going into the covenant. That covenant through him and through your seed will say that you belong to him forever. That's why we dedicate our sons at 8 days. That's why we circumcise Jalen at 8 days. Because the best thing I could give my son was God, because God will never drop him. I will. I will try my best not to, I'll try that, but I cannot be with him forever. I'm going to die. He's going to grow up and he's going to get married. I'm not going to be there with him in his house the whole time going, my boy, I don't think you should have done that. Little weird, yes? How many would you like your parents living with you? And I heard you guys were having an argument. Can we talk about it? No, leave me alone. He's putting you in a situation where you can go to God and you can talk to him and you can say, Allah, if I'm wrong, help me change. He can do that. He can cry out to him and he's going to take care of him where I can't. And I've given that over to him. I said, Abba, thank you for my son, but he's yours. I need you to look after him because I'm not going to get there. Okay?
See, like Jacob, he only chose God as his God. When he had the dream, he got Jacob's ladder. He was circumcised. So I think the reference for that is so important for us as parents because we're going to be their reference to see that we got God so that they can be God. So like, yes, we can give them a covenant, we can bring them up in our household, in the correct ways and everything. It's like Scripture says, raise your child in the way that you should go and not depart from it. It's in the Word. And then at the end of the day, that was work and that process is decided. I'm just mentioning because besides especially fine and it's nothing to do with the child's choice, but then also they have to choose when they are older.
Yeah, no,
It's going to be their God.
Absolutely. Of all the things of 8 days old, that was the last thing Jaden wanted me to go and do. So you look at the nice uncle with the beard, this will all be over in a minute or so. He was not happy. I'm just saying. Alright, so he says, remember your former state, you were ostracized. Okay, because you've never had the covenant. Alright? Those who merely, because of an operation of flesh, are called circumcised. Verse 12. At that time had no Messiah. You were estranged from the national life of Israel. You were foreigners to the covenants, embodying God's purpose. If he was only worried about the new covenant, why is it in plural? You were in this world without hope and without God. You had no life, you had no Savior, you were in a big mess. But now you who were once far off have been brought near to the shedding of Messiah's blood. Remember, an offering means in Hebrew to draw near to. His blood allows me to move forward into the presence of God. I can walk into the presence of Elohim because of that blood. For he himself is our peace, our shalom. He has made us both one and has broken down the mechitza which divided us. Please pause. What is another word for that mechitza? What's your translation say?
Hostility.
The hostility. The partition. It's actually the word for the dividing wall in the temple. It's called sorek. Okay? In the Greek. So, this is the Mishkan, yes? One way in, one way out. Come in, altar, brazen altar for the offering, laver, little curtain edges, menorah, showbread, incense, harabchet, after the covenant. One outer layer. Everybody comes to worship around, yes? No problem. Right, temple design. Temple mount. Yeah, here it's temple. Line, temple. So that section will contain the menorah and everything else. Over here you'll have the altar over there, and then you'll have a court for Israel. And then you'll have a court for the woman, and so on we have. We have divisions according to how far you can go, according to who you are. You as a Gentile, never get past this line. This little wall here. That is what he's talking about.
Is that what Paul got accused of? The Gentiles passing?
Yeah, he nearly got beaten to death because of it. And you know why? Let me read you the wording. Josephus records that on the stones, it says, no man of another nation to enter within the enclosure around the temple, and whoever is caught will have himself to blame that his death ensues. Roughly translated, and if you're a Gentile and you go through this gate and we find out you're dead. Okay? Pretty serious thing, yes? Now, where do we see that? Yeah. You don't see it anywhere. There was never a separation. Remember, the mixed multitude went up to Sinai. God never made a distinction. He said, one nation, one Torah. The nations and us. Them. Us. What's the glory doing in the temple there anyway? He would have had to mikvah, he would have had to pay, he would have had to come up. You've made it so impossible for him to get there. He must really want to go and pray. And when he's there, what did Yeshua find? When he started flipping tables, it was sunning in the courts of the Gentiles. And he says, you place of you people, it was supposed to be a place of prayer for all nations, but you have made it an end. Yes. I don't know if you've ever been to the Middle East, if you've ever been to Israel, when you're selling stuff, they're not exactly quiet. They're shouting out, they're calling out, come here, do this, get this, good price, blah, blah. I'm trying to pray. I have come from the nations to spend time with your God, and you won't even give me a moment to find out if he's the real king. They were supposed to be light bringing people in. Instead, they were literally, they were being the Bible. It says, God has broken down the mechitza, the sorek. He has broken it down. So don't let anybody tell you. There is no court for the Gentiles and court for the Jews. In Galatians is already written, probably in this time period. And he said there's neither slave nor free, nor Jew nor Gentile, neither man or woman in God's house. There's no difference. Stop making differences. You're mine. Look, this is the economy. Do you follow me? Yes, you're mine. If you don't, you're theirs. That's it. You want to call yourself Jewish, you want to call yourself Hasidic, you want to call yourself conservative, you want to call yourself Messianic, you want to call yourself Methodist, Catholic, India, RGS, and we all got our barriers all over the place, and we're saying, no. Now when you come onto this property, last time I checked, we were all supposed to be family. I might have some issues with the way they do things because I don't see them in Scripture, but also at the same time, can I not love them anyway? No, I'm going to boast about how much I know and how much they don't. Who gave me that knowledge? Go to God, He will share the same as He did with me. Okay? Not really. I understand the logic behind it, but the simple fact of the matter is once you have Yeshua, He is the gate. He is the altar for your sin. He is the laver that washes me clean. If I'm already there just with Yeshua, I'm already in the holy place. Once I'm in the holy place, I get to see God because I saw Yeshua and I saw that I'm the same on Yeshua, yes? So that's the Shekhinah of God, so that's the Spirit of God, but that puts me in the holy place. How do I get to the throne room according to what God has said? How do I get there? Through the blood of Messiah again. So I can walk into the blood of Messiah because of it. The simple fact of the matter is the blood of Messiah should regenerate me to the point that I should walk out in obedience, and I understand in covenant why I do those things. That's an act of love. Now, we have a teaching not we, but there's a teaching that's going around that says the more obedient you are, the closer you get to the Holy of Holies. The simple fact of the matter is, he says, the mechitza which divided us, Jew and Gentile separately. Yeshua's, when Christ died, what broke? No, not the mechitza. Interesting. It's not an out-of-court illegal problem. That was actually a coming to my presence. He actually tore his garment from top to bottom as a father mourning for his son. But he was opening up a holy of holies to a place where people can go in boldly as sons and daughters of the Most High. He says here, you uncircumcised Gentiles, we'll lift you up and we'll put you in heaven. Seat you up in heaven. Why? Because it's the blood of Mashiach. Is it nullifying circumcision? Absolutely not. Guys, it's coming up to Passover. You've had a year to think about this. Circumcision stands. It says, no uncircumcised male may eat olive. It's a pretty big mitzvah. Right? We're going to address those things as we get there. But you need to understand something. Once you're in covenant, he keeps you in covenant. And he's saying, this is it, you belong to me. How much do you want it? Oh, I don't know, it seems pretty rough, and why would I want to do that? You're more worried about your junk than you are about what God thinks. Think about it. So one is spirit-led instruction, and the other one is fear infection. Right? No, I just don't feel like it's the right thing to do. You don't have to feel anything. God said it was the right thing to do. So again, we justify, we run away, we make excuses, and I get that. We're part of our growing stages, but if you've been hearing this for 3 or 4 years, you need to move on. I want to push you so you will grow. You need to grow. Stop making excuses. You're better than that. God has called you. He has chosen you. He's lifting you up. He wants you to get there. He's sitting it out there. Your chair is set up. He says, my boy is going to sit here. But I don't know if I want to go through all that, so I've been sitting in. Really? So you only want to be saved? Keep your little talisman just in case things don't work out so well on earth. Have a really good time until he comes and he goes, no, but I believe in Jesus. This is not a place that believes once saved, always saved. Ephesians 5 is quite clear. We're going to get there. It says, if you are greedy, if you are lustful, if you practice sexual immorality, you will have no place in the kingdom of heaven. Go and check it out, Ephesians 5. If you do not act like a kingdom person, you don't belong in the kingdom. Now I get it. We stumble before we have jokes, but if you do not make teshuvah, we've got problems. Okay? We make excuses. Excuses is not teshuvah. Alright, where am I? 13, eh?
You finished 14.
Oh, I finished 14. Now what I need to do is find 14. Okay, there 15. By destroying in his own body the enmity occasioned by the Torah. Now, let me finish the sentence. With its command set forth in the form of ordinances. Okay. By destroying in his own body the enmity occasioned by the Torah. What does your translation read? Sorry?
The Torah demands the dogma.
Torah that demands the dogma.
Having abolished in his flesh the enmity.
Having abolished in his flesh the enmity. The most translations have something about enmity. What's enmity?
Separation.
The separation, the thing that goes in against me. Okay? Now, if you look at it from a biblical understanding, or just a Hebrew understanding on top of this, if an offering needs to draw near to, what does sin mean in Hebrew? It means it's a fence. Okay? It's literally a fence between me. I look at God and I go, I did something wrong and I put this table here. Okay? That chair, Abba is sitting, and I can't get to him because I've got something blocking my path. And I, in my own strength, cannot deal with this table. It's too big. So Yeshua comes and he flips the table over and he goes, okay, now what's the problem? Let's go. He takes care of the sin. This is what creates enmity. It's my sin that separates me from God. How do I understand what sin is according to Scripture? Sin is anything that is not in Torah. Right? Yes? Right? So when I get here, the enmity is destroyed. Not the Torah destroyed. The enmity is destroyed. Now there's some interesting things. I started to unpack some stuff. Here for you. Alright, there's a couple of different words for sin. Chata, which means in one way to go astray. Pesha, which means to trespass. Is actually a form of rebelliousness. To do rebellion. Yeah. Eh?
After the B.
R-E-B-I-L-L-I-O-U-S.
R-E-B-E.
R-E-B-E. There we go. Rebellious. Alright, forgive me. I've got lots of funny notes here and it's all over the place. Aviva, which means a transgression. And then we have Avon, pronounced Avon, is something to do with moral, which normally includes your lust, which talks about iniquity. And then we have Chata and Chet, which is the Chet is sort of the root for Chata, which means to unintentional miss the mark. Okay? So if I have to get rid of the enmity, I have to actually look at the different phrases. What other things am I going to take away from it? So when I sin, I go astray. I walk away from him. I start doing it my way. Okay? Otherwise, I am willingly rebelling, going against him. Aviva, it's a mild transgression, something that I did, again, probably unintentional. Avon brings me into iniquity, probably something to do with lust, something moral. Okay? And everything is missing one. So that if I get to this place, when my sin is creating all these barriers, I've walked away from him, I've trespassed him, I've transgressed, I'm full of iniquity, I've missed the mark completely, I was aiming there and I'm somehow over here, and all of this stuff is just lying in front of me. Who can get me to go? Who can save me? Who's going to pick up my mess? The floor is falling out behind me, it's getting closer, I'm going to die. And it's coming. And there's no one and nothing that's going to save me. The only way I can be safe is I'm sitting there next to that. It's the only way I can get there. And Yeshua came to die so that he can remove all of the brokenness, all of the rebelliousness, all of the disobedience, all of the intentional and unintentional nonsense that I got up to. Listen to me, I use that term, got up to, not still get up to. I need to move forward. I need to let go of all the brokenness that I was so that I can become a new creation, and I can become the person he wants me to be. That I don't put myself in those situations that I cause my own demise. God said that you would have life. Now I've saved you. I've come to save you. Why do you keep on choosing me? Why do you keep on pretending? This is life and death. Take it seriously. It's your eternity we're talking about.
It's alright to look at the Torah, and that's actually a protection thing because it keeps us away from a lot of that.
Yeah.
So we don't hurt ourselves and it protects us.
That's
It's
exactly
not even giving your kids any boundaries and hoping for best. I mean, God loves us so much. He gave us rules so that we can be so
Yeah.
cares about us. It just doesn't, when you know it, when you experience that keeping this actually keeps you safe, you actually experience that He loves you and that it's good for you.
It's the God will. You know, we have people running around from my generation and they say, well, you've got to try everything once. Otherwise, you haven't experienced life. Right? No one wants to experience death though. So if you died once to realize it's a bad thing? No, because it's too advanced. Said you need to experience it, right? So you destroy yourself slowly, but you won't do the quick fix. No? How do we know it's a bad thing? Every fiber of your being knows it's a bad thing. But you continue to destroy yourself, and God is the only one shouting and fighting for your salvation. Listen to me. It is the most frustrating thing for me as a leader, as a person that God has entrusted, that I care more about your salvation than you do. I care more about your covenant than you do. Why do I have to be the one fighting for your marriages? Why do I have to be the one fighting for your children? Why do I have to be the one fighting for your time with God? That's your job. You can't put one foot in, one foot out, and then come back every time you feel like it. By the time you realize the floor's going to be gone, and you're going to not know where you are and why you're lying on the floor, and everybody else has left you behind. He did this in order to create in union with Himself. From the two groups, a single new humanity, and thus make shalom. And in order to reconcile to God both in a single body, by being executed on a stake as a criminal and thus Himself killing the enmity. Also when He came, He announced good news, shalom to you far off, and shalom to those nearby. News that through Him we both have access to one Spirit, the Father. You are no longer foreigners and strangers. On the contrary, you are fellow citizens with God's people and members of God's family. You have been built on the foundation of the emissaries and the prophets. The reason we had emissaries, the reason we have prophets was to get you home. Their entire calling was to give you the opportunity to come into the kingdom. They went through what they went through to show you that God loved you. You're not just ignoring God, you're ignoring lifetimes and testimonies of what this means. But the cornerstone being Yeshua, the Messiah Himself, in union with Him. How many times must He say union? You're supposed to be the bride of Christ. You can't be betrothed to the world and be betrothed to Him. One of them you have to leave behind. And I'm telling you now, only one of them is going to live forever. In union with Him, the whole building is held together and it's growing into a holy temple in union with the Lord. It's growing into, it's becoming, it's getting there. We are slowly but surely understanding that we cannot trust our flesh, we can't trust our emotions, we can't trust our own decisions, we can't trust our mind, we have to trust Him. How many times have we gotten ourselves into situations because we thought a good idea was a God idea? And you only realize it was a bad idea when you were picking up your teeth. You fall flat on your face. You are banged up, bruised, and broken, and you don't know what happened. You followed you. You do not stop. We need to get to the place that we move where He moves, that we build each other up, that we build our foundations on Him, that we're bound on the emissaries and the prophets, on Torah, on the covenants. We have been brought in because of it, and we are going to grow together into a holy temple. What does holiness mean? Set apart. It is the one descriptive word we hear sung over and over again in heaven. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. How do you describe God? Kadosh. He is so distinct from the world, there's nothing like him. We don't have words to describe him. What are you supposed to be? Kadosh. When I look at you, I should not see the world, I should see your father. I should see your husband. Why are we fighting so hard to stay in something that is trying to pull us out? Yes, in union with you, you yourselves are being built together into a spiritual dwelling place for God. You are being built together. Do me a favor, look around the room. Look around. If you get stuck in 1 Corinthians 3 talks about quarreling and being jealous, and Romans 16 talks about be careful of those who cause division. Why is that a problem? Because the temple gets broken apart. I don't like that person, but I like this person. Here's the brick next to you. What are you going to do? Learn to get along. Stop thinking about how it makes you feel and how you would prefer this and how you should do this, and that person really isn't a Christian. Really? Were you? Are you? How many of you looked at a little baby when they came out and thought, that's not a baby, that's some sort of little alien wiggly thing? Face is all scratched up, its ears are stuck to its head, the nose is completely flat. You're like, how do you even breathe? But then after a couple of hours, things start to pop out and get into shape and all the rest of it. You're like, oh, okay, I get it now. You come out as a believer, you're all squishy and frumbled and all the rest of it, and you're like, you must love me. Really? I don't even know what you are yet. The problem is we get to the stage where we choose not to grow, and you want to act like a child when you're been here for maybe been an adult for 5 years, maybe you've been a Christian for 40 years, maybe you've been a Christian for 5 minutes, maybe whatever, but I'm telling you now, you need to grow. If I'm not standing still, you're not. Because last time I checked, God gave me the distinct privilege, and you know me, that scares me to be able to run ahead of you. I'm supposed to be drawing you out, not pushing you back. So if He's forcing me to grow, I'm telling you now, He's making you grow. If you are ignoring what God's telling you and you're justifying why you're not allowed to, then we've got bigger problems. I don't want to sound mean. I never grew up in a church, but I've seen many a person who has. We don't play church here. You don't get to come in here whenever you feel like it, because you need a feel-good message, and then you leave and you go and live your life and carry on like the way you were. I'm holding you accountable. There needs to be change. This is a discipleship place. God is going to ask me, how many disciples did you make, Vince? And I'm going to say, well, hopefully more than one. Hopefully I'll have a handful. But out of 100, if I've got 100 people under me and I look at him and I go, well, I think I've got one. One was willing to fight. One was willing to fight. So, no, Abba, it was a really bumper crop. I think we got 5. He says, but I gave you 100. Abba, you were there. I told you, you weren't listening. You will answer for your decisions. I will stand before Him, and my heart is, I will be well done, good and faithful servant. My son, come home. And I will lift up, and he goes, what did you give them? I said, Abba, I gave you because I said I'm useless. So I just figured if I gave them you, that you would be able to change their hearts, change their minds, and fix them and put them all back together, and then they would be able to come home on their own. To make a decision to follow you because you're a God. And then they love you, and I want to push it towards you. I'm going to push you now. Stop playing with your time. You don't know how much you have. Stop playing church. This is not a church. You are the church. And if you can't reflect God, how's the world going to believe in it? You're not a second-rate citizen. You're more than that. You're meant to be growing. You're meant to be pushing, because He has given you the Ruach so that you can. You can. Press in, lean in, hold in. Just take your time. God sees in you who you were meant to be and what you're supposed to be. And I tell you now, He says, no ear has heard, no eye has seen. I'm probably messing it up, sorting it around. Right? The things for those whom He loves. You cannot even fathom the beauty of heaven. And He's already said, I've got your place. Are you willing to give that seat away to someone else? Because you're tired, you don't feel like it? Are you willing to give away your eternity sitting next to a king? Because you worry about more how you feel physically, it hurts, it's difficult, it's not nice? It's time to look up, look past, and fight for what's there. All this stuff, it's all going to be good. That part and that part is being reborn. The body's going to come later. You hear me? Alright. Right time is that to come. Nobody's going to touch a fellow break. There'll be a lot of person. Right, next going to pray for us.
I want to thank you for your word. Thank you for all the people that took the time out today to come here to study your word. The highest form of worship we know is to study. I want to ask that you remove stony hearts, and you put a heart of flesh so that you can mold it and shape it, shape our walk, shape our life. Go on ahead of us and use people that are with you to draw us near to you. Lord, I just want to thank you for everything that you do for us. I ask that you heal anyone that needs healing. And I ask that you reveal yourself to anyone that is in doubt or has any questions. Thank you for everything you do for us. In Yeshua's name I pray.
If anybody wants prayer, come up.
Pray for